Welcome to EduCasts, home of EduCasters. Perennialism isn't just an abstract idea. It was a full-blown movement championed by two intellectual heavyweights in 20th century America, Robert Maynard Hutchins and Mortimer J. Adler. Hutchins became president of the University of Chicago in 1929 at the shockingly young age of 30. He was appalled by what he saw in American higher education. He saw universities that had become service stations, collections of specialized departments that didn't talk to each other, all focused on vocationalism or simple job training. He believed the university had lost its soul, its focus on developing the mind. He immediately set about reforming the University of Chicago, creating a core curriculum based on reading the great books and fostering broad intellectual inquiry. He wanted the university to be a place where big ideas were debated, not just where job skills were handed out. His right-hand man in this fight was Mortimer J. Adler, a philosopher and educator, who became the great popularizer of the movement. Adler was the driving force behind the great books of the World Encyclopedia set, an ambitious project to put the entire great conversation, or at least the Western part of it, on a single shelf. But Adler didn't think this kind of education should be just for college students at elite schools. His most famous contribution was the Paideia Proposal, published in 1982. This was his blueprint for bringing perennialism to America's K-12 public schools. He argued that all students deserve the same high-quality, liberal arts education. No more tracks, college prep versus vocational. In Adler's vision, every single student is capable of and deserves an education that trains their mind. The Paideia Proposal called for a curriculum built on 3 columns of learning. 1. Didactic instruction. This is the straightforward stuff: lectures, demonstrations, and textbooks used to give students a base of organized knowledge, like facts in history, scientific principles, etc. 2. Intellectual coaching. This is where the skills are developed. A teacher acts as a coach, helping students one-on-one or in small groups to master the skills of reading, writing, speaking, listening, and A-level mathematical computation. 3. Socratic seminar. This was the heart and soul of the proposal. In this column, students and a teacher would sit around a table to discuss a great book or a work of art. The teacher's job isn't to lecture, but to ask questions, probing, Socratic questions that push students to think critically, back up their arguments with evidence from the text, and grapple with the big ideas themselves. The Paideia Proposal was radical. It said that the best education, once reserved for the rich, was the only education suitable for a true democracy. To really get what perennialism is, it helps to see what it isn't. Its entire identity was forged in opposition to other more popular ideas. The main event, Perennialism versus Progressivism. This is the heavyweight title fight of American education. If perennialism is the philosophy of the timeless, progressivism is the philosophy of time and change. Championed by the legendary John Dewey, progressivism holds the exact opposite view on almost everything. Human nature. The progressive believes people are not constant. We are shaped by our environment and our experiences. Purpose of school. The progressive believes school is a tool for solving social problems and teaching students how to live in a democracy. The curriculum should come from the students' own interests and the problems of the world around them. How we learn. Dewey's famous phrase was learning by doing. You don't learn democracy by reading Plato. You learn it by forming a student government to solve a real problem, like a messy cafeteria. The teacher. The teacher isn't the sage on the stage who knows the truth. They are the guide on the side, helping students explore their own questions. A perennialist looks at this and is horrified. They would say that basing a curriculum on a student's interests is a disaster. It's the blind leading the blind. They would argue that focusing on current social problems is a waste of time because the problems change. Climate change may be our problem, but a century ago it was industrialization, and a century from now it will be something else. The only way to prepare students for any problem, the perennialist says, is to give them the tools of logic and reason that can be applied to everything. The close cousin, perennialism versus essentialism. This one is trickier because they look similar. Essentialism is the other major back to basics. Teacher-centered philosophy. Essentialists also believe in a core curriculum, rigorous standards, and training the mind. But there's a key difference. Essentialism is about teaching the essentials needed to be a productive member of modern society. This includes the 3 Rs: reading, writing, arithmetic, plus history, science, and today, even computer literacy. It's more practical. An essentialist teaches American history because it's essential for an American citizen to know it. A perennialist is more philosophical. They would teach American history only through the lens of the great books, reading the Federalist Papers or the Lincoln-Douglas debates, not to make a good American, but to understand the timeless ideas of liberty and federalism. An essentialist might add a computer coding class because it's a vital modern skill. A perennialist would never do that. They'd say, teach the student logic and mathematics, and they can learn any coding language they want on their own. Perennialism is pure, focused only on the liberal arts and the timeless greats.